Have you ever wondered why an exciting day disappears in a flash, while a boring afternoon feels like it will never end? It sounds simple, but the explanation behind it is one of the strangest mixes of psychology, physics, and pure human biology. And once you understand how time works, both inside your brain and across the universe, you'll never look at your watch the same way again. Let's start with the most familiar mystery. Why does time fly when you're having fun? Scientists say that when we feel motivated, excited, or deeply engaged in something, our brain literally speeds up our sense of time. Think about the last time you played your favorite video game, watched a thrilling movie, or spent hours talking with friends. You look at the clock and suddenly hours have gone by. It happens because of dopamine, the brain's reward chemical. When dopamine levels rise, our internal clock slows down. As a result, we underestimate how much time has passed. Minutes stretch, hours collapse, and the whole day disappears without warning. One of the most dramatic examples of this comes from explorer Michel Siffre, who once spent 63 days in total darkness inside a cave. No sunlight, no clocks, no routine, nothing. When he finally came out, he believed only about 30 days had passed. His mind had completely lost its sense of time. This effect also shows up when we get absorbed in new or challenging tasks. Psychologists call it flow. Flow is that magical state where you're so focused that distractions vanish, noise fades away, and time becomes meaningless. You might feel like an hour passed, but in reality, it was 3. Or sometimes the opposite happens. A few minutes feel incredibly long. Our memory also changes how we experience time. Busy days full of new events feel short in the moment, but long in hindsight. Meanwhile, routine days with nothing special happening feel long while you're living them, but short when you look back. That's why childhood summers felt endless. Every day had new experiences. As adults, routines compress our memories, and whole years begin to blur. Even businesses understand this trick. Casinos, for example, are designed without clocks or windows. Bright lights, loud music, and constant activity keep you so stimulated that you lose track of time entirely. They don't want you checking the clock, they want you playing. But let's step outside Earth for a moment, because something incredible happens every time you look at the night sky. You are literally looking back in time. Light travels at a constant speed, about 299,000 kilometers per second, so everything you see in space is actually the past. You see the sun as it was 8 minutes ago. The nearest star, Proxima Centauri, appears 4 years old, and when you look at the Andromeda galaxy, you are seeing light that started its journey 2.5 billion years ago, long before humans walked the Earth. Telescopes like the Hubble Space Telescope use this effect to look deep into cosmic history. Hubble has photographed galaxies as they appeared 13.4 billion years ago, only a few 100 million years after the Big Bang. In a very real way, telescopes are time machines. Now let's return to Earth, because physics does something even stranger. Time itself bends. Einstein showed that time is not fixed. If you move fast or experience weaker gravity, your clock slows down, not metaphorically, literally. Astronauts on the International Space Station age just a tiny bit slower than people on the ground. After 6 months in orbit, an astronaut returns 0.007 seconds younger than they would have been on Earth. That may sound tiny, but it's real and measurable. Your smartphone's GPS has to account for this too. GPS satellites move fast and experience weaker gravity, so their clocks tick 38 microseconds faster per day than clocks on Earth. If engineers didn't adjust for this relativity effect, your GPS position would drift by kilometers in a single day. Even on Earth, time isn't equal everywhere. A clock at the equator runs slightly slower than one at the poles because the Earth spins faster there. A clock in a plane runs faster than a clock at sea level. On Mars, where gravity is weaker, clocks tick 0.000477 seconds faster per day than on Earth. So while time feels solid and consistent, physics shows it is stretchy, flexible, and constantly changing. Naturally, this leads to a question humans have asked for generations. Can we build a time machine? The honest answer, not yet, and maybe never. The biggest problem is the grandfather paradox. If you went back and prevented your grandparents from meeting, you would erase your own existence. So how could you go back time to stop them in the first place? This creates a logical contradiction that the universe doesn't seem to allow. Some theories, like the many worlds interpretation, try to solve this by suggesting that going back in time would create a new timeline. But so far, we have no evidence that these timelines exist. Physicists have even run experiments with photons to test tiny time loops. Whenever the setup could cause a paradox, the effect simply didn't happen. It's as if nature actively protects the timeline. So for now, backward time travel remains in the realm of science fiction. But humanity's fascination with time is ancient. Over 2,000 years ago, Greek engineers created the Antikythera mechanism, a bronze device filled with tiny gears. It predicted the positions of the sun, moon, and planets, tracked eclipses, and even calculated the dates of the Olympic Games. It was so advanced that Richard Feynman once said it was almost impossible technology for its era. From that ancient mechanical device, we advanced to the world's most accurate timekeepers, atomic clocks. Modern optical lattice clocks are so precise they would lose 1 second in 300 billion years. So what does all of this tell us? It tells us that time is not a simple, steady flow. It bends with motion. It stretches with gravity. It warps in our memory. It collapses during excitement. And through telescopes, it shows us the ancient universe. Time is one of nature's greatest illusions. So the next time a fun moment flashes by, or a slow day refuses to end, or you find yourself staring at the stars, remember, you're not just experiencing time, you're feeling the effects of psychology, biology, and physics all at once. Time isn't as fixed as it feels. In fact, it may be the strangest part of the universe we live in.